What's up everybody, welcome to Taha Games and the relaunch of my channel. Today I'm bringing you a video, Call of Duty Ghosts video multiplayer, some solo domination on the map Freight. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know which class I'm using, because all of the perks and everything else and the way it's all set up is pretty new to me. As some of my older subscribers will know, Call of Duty itself isn't really new to me at all. I've been playing it for years, and I'm a relatively experienced player. But when it comes to this game, it has a new perk system, you look at perks in a new way, and you choose them in a new way. It's kind of similar-ish to the Black Ops 2 system, where you're able to unlock perks earlier if you have certain things that you've achieved in the game, and credits, etc. But on the whole, it's got a new feel to it. So I'm not really comfortable talking about the actual perks yet. I kind of just wanted to give my impression of the game so far and maybe open up a little forum on the comments section. So yeah, I mean, so far I guess I gotta say I'm enjoying it. I'm amazed by probably the biggest thing for me, and you guys will have heard this over and over again, but the biggest thing for me when it comes to this game is how massively they've changed some of the I would say one of the most fundamental mechanics of the game, and I suppose a lot of people may not actually realize that. One of the most fundamental mechanics of the game is actually how long it takes to take down an enemy. If you look at Call of Duty versus Halo, for example, Halo has a shield system, so it's a slower game in that sense. You can't get multiple kills quickly, and it takes a little bit of time for someone else to kill you because they have to take down your shields first. And it changes the way that the game is played. It changes the tactics and the techniques that players use in order to get kills and in order to evade being killed. Well, in Call of Duty it's always been a twitch shooter, as we all know, and it's always been the kind of game where really it was all about speed and locking on to the enemy first. Well, in this installment of the game they've increased the weapon damage, it seems, or they've decreased the basic health, but I think they've probably increased the weapon damage by a lot, it feels like. I mean, I'll be honest with you, there are times when it feels like you only have to put a bullet or maybe two bullets into an enemy and they're down already. Which, to be fair, is a little bit more realistic, but this game isn't really about realism, it's about having fun. So that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed, is how quickly you can die. I mean, you can die within a split second. And that can work both ways, of course. You can take out multiple enemies all at once, but you can also get killed on a streak very easily. And here's another thing, that little lean, that's something I haven't really figured out yet. I don't actually know how to lean on purpose. I kind of end up just doing it accidentally like I did there. But yeah, essentially, here I made a pretty big mistake when I reloaded at the wrong time. I could hear him. One of the perks that I do know I'm using, is called Amplify. And that's a pretty good perk. You can hear pretty much everything across the map. It can actually be a bit distracting at times, because you also hear your friendly players as well. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, that's one of the biggest changes, is that there's this huge increase in weapon damage, and you can die really quickly. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out in the future. Are we going to get, you know, higher scoring gameplays or lower scoring gameplays? Are montages going to have kind of bigger kill feeds or smaller kill feeds? Will people be able to get more kills quicker, or will the fact that they're going to get killed quicker cause them more problems in getting what they wanted, you know, what the standards already are? It's an interesting one, and I guess we'll see when the game kind of pans itself out. So that's probably the biggest change that I've noticed so far. The other thing that I've noticed, and you can't really see on this, you know, the actual images that you're being shown at the moment, for some reason it looks relatively vivid, but when you actually play the game it looks kind of a little bit flat. The colors look a little bit flat, and actually a lot of people don't like that. I actually kind of like it, because it helps me, oddly enough, it helps me to be able to see what's going on. One of the things I found in Modern Warfare 3 that I used to find really irritating was that the colors all seemed to be ultra saturated. Now look at this camper. They all seemed to be ultra saturated, and I used to find it hard to tell enemies from the background that they were sitting in front of, because it just all looked really saturated, and I couldn't make them out quite often. And that was one of my biggest annoyances when it came to Blind Eye Assassin. People who kind of camped in corners with Blind Eye Assassin, there was just no way that you could see them because they just blended seamlessly. Well, I feel like in this game I'm able to see people a little bit better, and I don't really know why that is. I think it may be because of the fact that they've changed the color system a little bit. I really should have had that guy there. I even had a head glitch on him. I feel like, you know, maybe it's because I've changed what I actually play the game on. I've started playing on a gaming monitor as opposed to a big TV, and I think, by the way, that actually makes a huge difference if any of you are thinking of it. And I think that the fact that I can see enemies better for whatever reason, even if the colors are a little bit less bright, that's definitely a good thing. So far, I mean, I guess there are a couple of things that I've mentioned. The first is that the weapon damage is increased, and the second is that you can see people better, and the colors are a bit different. And neither of those things are bad things. I think there's some other really cool things in the game. I like the fact that the perks are all a bit different. I like the fact that they've changed how you can access perks, that you can buy them instead of having to instead of having to only rank up to them. And I also think that that the actual weapons, there's a whole new load of weapons, and we've got a few familiar favorites, but there's a whole new load of weapons that have come in, and of course that's really interesting as a Call of Duty player. There's a whole new load of weapons to master and to learn how to play with and to find your favorites and all that kind of stuff. Talking about, I get a nice little 3-piece there, and I guess that's a good example of how you can get really nice big kill feeds. And I'm just pushing into the enemy spawn here, which is a little bit reckless, but this is pretty early days in the game, and I'm not really worried about my performance. More of just trying to get used to how to play the game, really, just get my fingers back, back into it. I haven't actually unlocked Scavenger yet, which is why I'm struggling with weaponry, and I can hear this guy coming around the corner, so I just wait for him. So yeah, going back to what I was saying was, one of the things that I've always kind of really enjoyed about Call of Duty is how fast-paced it is. So the actual increase in weapon damage doesn't really cause me a problem. I get taken out by this guy because I don't pan left quickly enough, and I think the different weapons and the way that they've changed weapon classes up a little bit is gonna be quite good for the future of the game. I think we needed a little bit of change, really, because the game was beginning to get kind of stale. One of the things that you guys will know, my 20-odd subscribers, and hopefully soon to be more, is that I love sniping. I'm one of those players who uses red guns and snipes quite a lot. I don't really do just one like a lot of people do, but I spent a long time, months, I suppose even years, learning how to snipe fairly well. And I'm really happy that they've brought sniping back, in the sense that it's not the Treyarch sniping. It's not sniping that's been nerfed or reloads that have been slowed down. They don't. Infinity Ward, well, it's not Infinity Ward, but Sledgehammer, they don't seem to have this vendetta against sniping that Treyarch and the David Vonderhaar crew do. And that makes me a lot more hopeful for the game, as far as whether or not I'm actually going to be interested in it. And whether or not it's going to have longevity for me, because one of the things that I found with Black Ops 2 was that being someone who snipes probably about 60% of the time, mainly because I don't really find this that challenging. I mean, this isn't as challenging as sniping. It just isn't. It's easier to use an assault rifle, and a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine. But I would say that most of the people who disagree with me on the issue of sniping are people who can't snipe themselves. And that kind of tells you that, well, I don't really feel like they're qualified to say that, because at the end of the day you have to be able to snipe to be able to say whether it's, and to snipe well to be able to say that it's easy. You have to be able to go out and get kill feeds and get quad feeds and stuff in order to say, well, it's easy to snipe. And I've never heard any really serious sniper on YouTube ever say that it's a really easy thing to do, because it just isn't. It's a much harder way of playing the game. So I'm happy that they've kept sniping the way it is. One of the things I found with sniping being or trying to go for kill feeds and trying to go for streaks and whatnot in this game is that because you die so quickly, it's really, really difficult. I mean, the weapons are really fast, you reload quickly, you fire quickly, they move really nicely, especially the USR has an amazing feel to it, a really simple, clean feel to it when you play the game. But it's so hard to get kill feeds because people kill you so quickly. And that's a challenge, and that's cool. I think it may frustrate me in the future when it comes to finishing off my montage, but who knows? I mean, it's something new, and I think the franchise needed something new. There's a couple of other things I've noticed about the game as well. little things that I kind of feel like they've taken a little bit from Battlefield, but I don't feel like that's a bad thing necessarily. The way that you climb over stuff, I think I'm just about to do it. No, I try. What a fail. But the way that you climb over stuff they've taken from Battlefield, which I think is kind of cool. It's more interactive, it feels more real, and I like that quite a lot. And so those are the main good things that I've noticed so far. The connection's actually fairly good. Right now, you guys can see on the top right of my screen, you can actually see the kind of, I don't know what it's called, the select thing that you see to be able to see who's playing the game. One of the things that I think, I'm going to move on to the negatives now, that I really don't like about the game is that they've taken away the bar system, so you can't tell how many bars you've actually got. You can't tell whether you've got a 4-bar or a 3-bar. And I've heard that in Black Ops they messed around with what counts as a 4-bar, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But even then, you know, you had an idea that your connection was objectively good or it was objectively bad, as opposed to just your own subjective opinion. And I think it's kind of a shame that they've taken that away. I don't really know why they've done that. And I would like to see that reintroduced to understand what kind of ping I'm getting. I don't understand why they don't just give you your ping next to your name. It's not like we're all idiots. Like we're all just going to get freaked out by a number. People can handle, what their ping is, and it'll help people to get better connections and to ultimately enjoy the game more. So I don't really know why they took that out. Maybe it's a coding thing. I don't know. And I guess just coming on towards the end of the game, one of the things probably the thing that I found most frustrating about this game so far is the map design. Something I've always loved about Call of Duty games, and especially Infinity Ward, and I know Infinity Ward doesn't exist anymore, but I guess their inheritor Sledgehammer. One of the things I've really enjoyed about their games in the past, is that they always had a few crappy maps. Fuel comes to mind, and a couple of other kind of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 maps come to mind. Some really bad maps, but the thing about all the maps that were really bad is that they were really big, and I don't know why they've suddenly gone back to all of these huge maps. I've heard rumors that it's because there's going to be big online PC games in this franchise coming up, and even with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, they're going to be having kind of big 12v12 or even 16v16 v16 matches, and I think that's fine. If it works, then it works. But right now, they should have started off the game with smaller maps instead of having huge maps. And some of these maps are they make Fuel look like a little backyard. So that's my main frustration with the game so far. But on the whole, I'm enjoying the game. I'm going to be uploading, a mix of regular gun and sniping content. So subscribe and like, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.